Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're diving headfirst into the shocking, frankly hidden biology of a massive internet sensation. You know the one. You've probably seen them a million times while scrolling through your feed. Those massive, soulful eyes, the tiny little grasping hands, moving super slowly like a living teddy bear. But actually, scratch that. Behind that innocent, cuddly facade lies a fascinating and literally deadly secret that makes them entirely unique in the animal kingdom. Joining us to help sniff out the truth today is our curious feline friend, who's going to help us unpack exactly why this adorable exterior hides such a highly complex weapon.
So let me kick things off with a kind of crazy question. What do you think this adorable, big-eyed primate possibly has in common with a deadly spectacled cobra? I know, right? It sounds like a totally absurd comparison. On one hand, you have this beloved, supposedly helpless furball, and on the other, a highly lethal reptile. But as we're going to see, evolutionary biology has a brilliantly twisted sense of irony. The slow loris isn't just cute, it actually holds the heavyweight title of being the world's absolute only venomous primate.
Section 1, the cute but deadly myth.
Let's completely shatter that cuddly myth right now. Consider this real-life medical case from a remote area of Malaysian Borneo. A 22-year-old guy tried to grab a wild Cayenne slow loris to keep as a pet. He got bitten on the ring finger for just 10 seconds. 10 seconds! Almost immediately, his lips swelled up massively, he started suffocating, his blood pressure absolutely plummeted, and he fainted from severe anaphylactic shock. If it weren't for an emergency adrenaline injection at a local clinic, he wouldn't have made it. So yeah, a bite from a loris is no joke at all. It is a profound medical emergency.
Section 2. Unique Venom Delivery System.
Now, having venom as a mammal is already exceptionally rare. You usually only see it in a handful of quirky species like the platypus or maybe a few types of shrews. But the loris? The loris is on a whole different level because it uses this incredibly unique two-step biological mixing process. Basically, it combines harmless armpit oil with its own saliva to whip up a potent, literal flesh-rotting venom. Here's how it works. When a loris feels threatened, it throws its arms up over its head. It looks like it's surrendering, right? But it's absolutely not. It's actually reaching for a specialized hairless patch inside its elbow called the brachial gland, which sweats out this noxious volatile oil. The loris licks the oil, and boom, the magical chemical reaction happens the second it mixes with the saliva in its mouth. Then it gets pulled through their tooth comb, which is a set of specialized forward-facing bottom teeth that essentially act like a row of hypodermic needles perfectly primed to deliver the newly activated venom.
Section 3. The cat allergen connection.
Okay, this is where our feline friend's presence today really makes sense because there's a mind-blowing biochemical twist here. If you look at the primary ingredient in the loris's armpit oil, the highly complex molecular structure is completely identical to FeLD1. And if you're wondering what that is, it's the exact same protein that triggers domestic cat allergies in humans. House cats are constantly covered in FeLD1 from grooming themselves, mostly using it as a harmless way to recognize each other. But the slow loris took that exact same structural protein and literally weaponized it into a toxic defense. So if you're the kind of person who sneezes and gets puffy eyes around cats, you're actually experiencing a super mild reaction to the very same type of protein the loris uses to send people into full-blown anaphylactic shock.
Section 4. The Cobra Mimicry Hypothesis.
Now, you might be wondering, why go through all this trouble? Producing venom takes a massive toll on an animal's body, meaning there had to be some huge evolutionary pressure driving this over millions of years. Well, scientists have pretty much thrown out the idea that lorises use venom to hunt prey or keep parasites away. I mean, the venom can kill leeches, but wild lorises naturally have very few parasites to begin with. And as for hunting, researchers who have spent hundreds of hours in the field have seen that lorises easily crush their prey, like bugs and small lizards, just using their powerful jaws alone. They simply do not need venom to get a meal. This means we have to look for a much more complex behavioral reason.
And this brings us to one incredibly compelling theory: Mullerian mimicry. The idea is that during the Miocene era, the loris evolved to basically impersonate the deadly spectacled cobra. Think about it. Around 8 million years ago, massive climate shifts turned lush Asian tropical forests into dry savannas. This forced the slow, tree-loving loris down onto the incredibly dangerous ground. To survive all the predators down there, they went full snake mode. When they throw their arms up to grab that venom, it perfectly mimics a cobra expanding its hood. They even do this raspy rhythmic pant grunt that sounds exactly like a snake hissing, adding the dark stripe down their back and a venomous bite, and they successfully tricked predators into thinking they were a highly dangerous reptile.
Section 5. Weapon for intraspecific combat. But honestly, mimicking a cobra is just a side gig for them. The really dark reality is how they actually use this chemical warfare today, and the main target is much closer to home. Lorises are incredibly, viciously territorial. They use their venom to inflict festering, flesh-melting wounds on each other during brutal fights over mates and territory. This completely shatters that whole cute, innocent image, doesn't it? They belong to an elite, highly violent club of only sex mammals known to use venom against their own kind. Females will ruthlessly defend their feeding spots, and males will engage in absolute savage combat over breeding rights. A bite from a rival doesn't just sting, it causes severe tissue necrosis. The venom literally melts the flesh, leaving these horrific, non-healing wounds that can rot away a lorise's face or limb. To put that sheer violence into perspective, researchers conducted an extensive 8-year study of Javan slow lorises and found that a staggering 57% of males showed fresh bite wounds inflicted by the venom of other lorises. 57%. That means way more than half of the adult males out in the wild are just walking around with fresh or healing chemical burns from brawling with their neighbors. This data absolutely proves that their venom is primarily used as a brutal weapon for daily survival and dominance within their own species.
Section 6. The tragic pet trade. Finally, we have to look at how this highly specialized biology collides with human greed, and it's a deeply tragic reality. Because their flesh-rotting venom doesn't protect them from the illegal pet trade, poachers have found a horrific workaround. They routinely rip out the lorises' teeth using nail clippers or pliers. And they do it without any anesthesia whatsoever. The demand for these animals as pets or tourist props is sky-high simply because they look cute. But to disarm that tooth comb delivery system, they completely mutilate the animal, leaving rescued lorises permanently disabled and totally unable to ever return to the wild. Plus, they're nocturnal, so the bright lights of human environments cause them intense stress, and they're frequently heavily drugged just to keep them docile. This entire nightmare industry has caused wild slow loris populations to plummet by a devastating 30% in just 3 decades.
So I want to leave you with this thought to mull over before you hit like or share on the next viral video of a quote-unquote cuddly wild animal. Next time you see a clip of a loris raising its little arms to be tickled, you now know the hidden truth. It is not playing. It is actually adopting a terrified defensive posture to arm its venom. The slow loris is an absolute evolutionary marvel. It's a venomous, cobra-mimicking, fiercely territorial warrior of a primate. What it is absolutely not is a pet. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer. Keep your curiosity sharp. Always remember to look beneath the surface, and I'll catch you next time.
Knowledge grows through sharing. What are your thoughts on today's topic? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe as we continue to grow together.